Get in, nerds. We are playing Burden of Command. We are getting started with the second scenario of the campaign. So let's get going with that. Of the tutorial. We're still early on. But first, we have this. I have looked at this screen before. So this is the sort of the inter scenario screen. We're still in September 4th of 1942 here. We got some fun historical documents we can take a look at. But I'm not going to focus on that right now because I'm going to go to Aid Your Men. So, this is our Aid Your Men cheat sheet. We got our resources we can spend up here. We got our trust and XP. Overall unit status, and this lets us look at our various units. There's a global undo. We got targeted undo options as well. So let's. Okay. During training, aid is more limited. All right. So during training, only XP and trust will be available to modify. Casualties and combat stress will appear only when you enter combat. All right, that makes perfect sense. And then you'll need these actions more to. I see. Here we go. These are the bringing in replacements and stuff like that. Oof. Anyway, I'm not going to worry too much about that. Let me see. We've got a little bit of loyalty and a little bit of prestige. I thought I got a block of 10 loyalty from somewhere, but I could be wrong. Anyway, not that big of a deal. Let's see. Replacements. Yes. All right. So these are units. These are new soldiers we can bring in to a group that's damaged. So this is us, Lieutenant Unnamed, and we got Lieutenant Wilson, Lieutenant Dearborn, Lieutenant Stern, and up at the top here, Captain Lamb. As the it doesn't appear. Okay, here we go. So, this function gives units extra experience, 25 experience. It costs 2 loyalty and 2 prestige. This is, okay, trust is disabled for now. And we can improve leaders at a cost of 5 prestige. For now, I'm just going to augment squads. So what do we have? We got 3 squads. These look like rifle squads to me. This one's got a BAR, but I don't think that's a special weapons squad. I think that's just rifles. Can I get a visual to? Yeah, here we go. So this is a weapons squad, a special weapons squad. They got MGs, another one, and then these are our mortars. So 4th platoon is our special weapons platoon, and it looks like the rest of these are rifle squads. So what I'm going to do is I got a little bit of loyalty and prestige. I'm just going to distribute some XP to all of the... Now, does this cost go up? No, it does not. All right, interesting. I'm just going to distribute a little bit to each of these units just to start them getting going. And that should be enough. I'm down to 2 loyalty and 1 prestige. That should be just fine. And yeah, all right, that should be reasonably good. Let's continue. A second chance. All right, so this is continuing field exercises here. 24th September, 1942. Virginia, United States. Alright, so here we're in partially the same location.
Well, it was infantry. And infantry is different than cavalry. We didn't have horses, but they had light tanks, the cavalry did.
So what kind of training then would you have in the infantry?
Bayonet, hand grenade. You don't throw a hand grenade like a baseball. You You lob it.
Interesting. All right, so we are back at Camp Pickett, Virginia, for second effort. The soldiers of your platoon are weary in their boots as they march back to their starting places. The morning run and the recent field problem have both clearly taken their toll. Platoon Sergeant Bennett glances your way, and the unspoken question of whether to quicken or slacken the pace lingers between you. Let them rest, they're worn out. The men will be ready for their cutting exercise and suffer no suppression, also acquire no experience. Have your men pick up the pace. The men will be slightly fatigued and suffer very little suppression. They will also acquire very little experience. Experience will eventually increase unit performance. Or time for a double time, the men will be fatigued and suffer a little suppression. They'll also acquire a little experience. Experience will eventually increase unit performance. This is a training exercise. I think there's two schools of thought on this. One is you should train how we fight. Two is there's not really a threat right now, so pushing them a little bit could have some benefits. On the other hand, my understanding is I get a little bit more prestige and whatnots if we win. This is still the tutorial, though. Let's push them a bit. It's Camp Pickett, Virginia. No one's attacking us here. There's not really a threat. Let's get going. We'll get some little extra experience, push a little harder, and then when we got to fight the Germans, we'll be better equipped. Bennett passes along your order, followed by a few choice insults to put the men into columns. The men gripe about this until they're doing double time. At the assembly area, the field umpire with the captain's bars gives a little nod and recites his expected line. This field problem concerns fire and movement, culminating with an assault upon the objective. Except this time, your platoon will have support from your company's heavy weapons platoon. Alright, their weapons platoon. It doesn't say heavy. Sorry, I'm so used to the... You're gonna love this. I'm just used to thinking of them as heavy weapons units from Warhammer 40k. I'm used to thinking of them as heavy weapons. But these are not like field artillery. These are the way the Astra Militarum has. These are still effectively small arms, hand special weapons. So, continue here. Heavy weapons coming up, Lieutenant. Sergeant Bennett notes as a dozen men from the weapons platoon hustle over. They don't have real 30 cals yet, just logs painted black. Those are supposed to be heavy as the real thing, but the beefy officer leading the weapons platoon carries a log as if it were no heavier than a baseball bat. Lieutenant Stern. Hey Stern, we're about to kick off. Verbosity +1. Wave Stern over, verbosity -1, or the field umpire will take care of things. Hey Stern, we're about to kick off. Not without us, Stern calls back, his voice carrying well across the field. You're almost late, Lieutenant, the field umpire notes. This guy loves to say you're almost late. It was a long run from the target range, Stern replies evenly. But it'll be the Krauts who'll be doing the running when we take a crack at them. Yes, well, today's objective is for a combined arms assault on that farmhouse down there, the field umpire says, and points to the little house in the distance. Time will be, as it ever is, a factor. Stern certainly is eager, at least the umpire is staying focused. Wait until the umpire is done talking. At least the umpire is staying focused. Stern looks your way. Tell me what to hit, and we'll hit it hard enough for you to schlep right over, he says, then glances down at the 30 cal in his hands and chuckles. Well, we'll pretend to, anyway. Back to your platoons, lieutenants, the field umpire says to both of you. You are allowed only limited communication while the exercise is paused. In particular, weapons platoon will be initially unavailable. My options are, and what completely valid reason is there for that? Understood, or rifles first because. I'm going to increase my sarcasm. And what completely valid reason is there for that, Captain? It's part of the exercise, the field umpire replies, and pointedly narrows his gaze. Remember, rifles first, then the machine gun. Stern gives you a knowing nod at that news. As the two of you depart for your weapons for your platoons, you consider how best to develop this field problem. Your 3 rifle squads are organized as part of 1st Platoon. The machine gun and mortar are part of the weapons platoon. Each platoon has a leader in command. Stern is in charge of the weapons platoon. Alright, so we got a little unit types breakdown over here. Rifle squads, shooting spends up to 2 orders, 1 order to move. MG team, 1 order to shoot, 2 orders to move. Okay. Mortar squad, 2 orders to shoot, 2 orders to move. Alright. And leader, we've seen how that works before. Okay, so MGs, they're chiefly characterized by their ability to shoot more than once. If there's an ammo mechanic, we haven't had that introduced yet, but it might be later. And then mortars don't shoot, or they got to do 2 for both. Okay, so that makes a certain degree of sense. MGs have more firepower, and both of our setup and tear down weapons are slower. All right, let's proceed forward. We've got everything but tanks, Sergeant Bennett remarks. Each platoon will have a different role to play. Rifles expend up to 2 orders to shoot, but only 1 to move. Machine guns expend 1 order to shoot, but cost at least 2 to move. Mortars cost at least 2 to move, and up to 2 to fire. Okay. Bolster, rally. Suppression via shock, casualties, experience. Alright.
Bennett tells me you're progressing, LT. So today we get to talk about tactics, not just
The
mechanics.
4 Fs. Ooh, I'm
Without
excited.
further ado, why don't we go to, I think, the core of how we're different from most tactical games that the casual gamer or others might be familiar with, namely bang, 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 you're dead games. This is true a fair number of tactical World War II games, too. But I don't think of reality. You know, people don't want to die. You fire at them, they're going to get down behind the stone wall, and your bullets aren't going to do much. So, instead you need what's called the 4Fs. So here we are in Germany. You've got elements of a rifle platoon, you've got Germans up north, and your goal is to suppress them first. You're not going to succeed in killing them, they're in pretty good cover, and they're going to put their heads down. So you've started firing, but it's not just bang, bang, bang even for suppression. You have to be smart, you have to use your leadership, you have to bolster. Improving their fire. The leader is directing the fire here. He's using a heavy weapon, which is intimidating, higher rate of fire, puts more bullets around the squad. And, you know, when you hear bullets whizzing by, you start to be suppressed, meaning you're keeping your head down. And you can see the color bars here are telling us the state of the enemy's morale. They've gone from green to yellow, and they will shortly be at red. They've been doing an effective job here. He's suppressed. Ah.
Okay. Alright. A whistle blows. The field problem begins. The mission. Finish the exercise before turn 2. The men don't get anyone quote-unquote killed. Alright. So our squads are both a little bit low on morale, but they're still in green, so I'm feeling reasonably confident. Oh, they're not in green. They're kind of a mid. Interesting. They're not quite in green, but they're not in yellow either. Looks like chances are rock solid. Consumes 1 leader order and up to 2 rifle squad orders. All right. I guess we're benefiting from the cover, even if we're not in it. We'll find out. We got a pretty high chance of winning the initiative here, and we got a BAR, so that's good as well. All right, let's take our shots. All right, so it does work a lot like similar. Okay. Stonewalls stop bullets, Lieutenant, Sergeant Bennett says, but they're not invincible over there. We've got the firepower. Let's have the other squad keep their heads down until Stern is ready. Squad prepare to fire. And we got our ranking of cover. No cover, light cover, medium cover, heavy cover, and extreme cover. All right, so we got open fields. This is going to be bunkers. I think most of what we've seen has been light or medium cover so far. It's interesting, 5 tiers. So yeah, this is what I assume is going to be like fortifications and whatnot. Let's take a quick look. Oh, hold on. Shooting. You give the order and your men take aim. The enemy is already partially suppressed, and this should be a little easier. So with this... Okay, we don't have a visual to that right now. So this squad is currently in... Yeah, that looks like medium cover. So... We'll shoot again. Can I see enemy morale? Yes, I can see it right here. They're in yellow morale. So let's shoot. You signal Sergeant Grant across the way. He replies with equal vigor and gets the other squad into position. A glance through your binoculars reveals Private Roberts as the soldier squints through the circular iron sights at a distant target. Behind him is Private Hancock, who apparently has again mislaid the protective ears on either side of his submachine gun sights. No doubt to remove something he considers to be a distraction. Interesting. I guess this is 42, so we already have, we have the Thompson machine gun already. That's what I assume we're talking about. I'm sort of picturing it, and I can think of the part that looks like ears to me, right? Yeah, on both sides of the iron sights. Do a little shooting myself, get a little extra XP. Remember to ask Hancock about his weapon later. All right. Or keep my weapon slung, a little bit of extra trust. Ooh, 1 trust is still quite a bit. And 1 XP is a very, very small amount. But I'm going to remember to ask Hancock about his weapon later, because that seems like something that should be addressed. Hancock decided to alter his weapon. If it was for a good reason, you'll want to know. Same thing if it was a bad one. That's probably it for rifle work, Sergeant Bennett says as the referees make their calculations. But we could give them a taste of 30 cal instead. Same rounds, but lots more of them, if we had permission to use the radio. No radios are available. However, we do have the flags. The umpire waves at us at a set of flags marked radio. You could always send a runner, of course. Slower, but more reliable if they don't get shot. Should have opened fire with the MG first. The rifles did some good work. The MG can do more. What I really want to do is employ the mortar. The rifles did some good work, but the MG can do more. The rifles took easy, accurate shots. The MG can spit out a lot more lead, but that alone isn't enough. That was probably the lesson the umpire wanted to teach. Firefights are complicated. Hold the Alt key to mouse over each section for a breakdown on what's going on. Not here. Alright, so we can send a runner, or we can signal stern with the flags. There's a lot of open terrain between me and stern right now, so I don't love the idea of a runner. Let's signal with the flags. You signal stern with the flags. He signals back in acknowledgement. All the while, the enemy keeps their heads down. End the round, then activates stern. Oh, okay.
We further reinforce that sense of limited command and control by dividing the turn into leader rounds. If it's your leader round, you only get to lead your men, and you don't get to lead them during Stern's leader round.
I see. To get the heavy weapons involved, you'll have to switch leaders by ending the round. The leader will then have a chance to react by taking their own round, but that can't be helped right now. Stern confirms the message. The umpire marks his clipboard. Okay. Alright. So, Allied leader round, Axis leader round. Repeat until Axis player passes. Okay. Alright. So we have interspersed turns. Our entire turn doesn't happen all at once. It goes platoon by platoon. That's interesting. So there is a baseline sort of initiative type advantage for being the smaller force, even if that means you're inadequate in firepower. You can always see who's leading. In just a little bit, the real star of the show will become the machine guns. Those can spit out a lot of firepower under Stern's command. Coordination takes time, Sergeant Bennett says, as the two of you watch Stern's men set up shop. No way around that, even if we had real radios.
That end toward the enemy.
Alright, so with that having been said, generally only one platoon leader can be leading at a time. The spacebar is the hotkey to end the round. I don't feel great sitting here in front of a... Oh no, we're hidden. We're hidden. I don't need to worry about that. Or at least not yet. I kind of want to either move to cover, shoot, or both. Then again, here's the thing about game tutorials, right? If you can like soft lock up stuff if you don't do the stuff the tutorial asks you to do. So I'm gonna just sort of give the game the benefit of the doubt here that we're not supposed to be second guessing them, and that we can do the right thing by just passing the turn and leaving our command squad here in frankly a garbage position, in my humble opinion. So, so this will give the round to Stern. but first the enemy will get to go. All right. We'll have to let the enemy take a turn to swap turn. Platoon activations. It doesn't look like they did anything. So, we want to open fire with the MG. Before we do that, okay, you can see all of this. So that's interesting. I just don't want to put myself in a situation where I'm allowing myself to be shot at. Bolster to improve. It just says open fire with the MG. I'm just going to do as the game asks for now, and we'll see how it goes later on. You take more strategic initiative later on, because I would like to bolster right now, but on the other hand, we've got a lot of capability here. So, that's the sound to hear and fear, especially since the machine gun is firing at the enemy beyond the effective range of their rifles, Sergeant Bennett declares, although it would have been better if he'd bolstered his men first. Nearby, the field umpire checks his watch. Okay, interesting. So, maybe this is a situation in which we're not supposed to be necessarily taking orders at face value. So this is good right here, right? This is good tutorialization here, because this is the game saying, hey, your orders are going to be this, but like, I don't know, you're a commander in the field, do what you think is right. And, you know, sometimes you're going to have a better idea than what the umpire has in mind or what your orders have in mind, and that's going to be the right call, and sometimes you're going to get creative and that's going to be a mistake. So I like that. So that's good tutorialization right there. Everything is timed, directness +1. The umpires are more persistent than subtle. Get on with it. So I have a chance to change my directness here. I'm going maxed out for sarcasm and verbosity. I'm gonna lower my directness a little bit, and we'll see how that goes. That was a lot of firepower, worth the weight of carrying it forward, Sergeant Bennett says, but if we really want to make them huddle and puddle in their boots, we'll need the mortars. Lieutenant Stern will spot the fall of his unit's mortar rounds from his location. The umpire indicates, that is the only way to ensure accuracy. A leader can direct artillery from his position. The mortars don't need to be able to see the enemy directly to lob shells at them. They just need Stern to be in a position to spot the fall of the rounds. The mortars could sit safely on the reverse slope of a hill and still contribute to the battle. In fact, that is the way they prefer to conduct themselves. Okay, alright. Very cool.
Lay it on him!
So, left click on Stern. Spot with the mortars. Okay. But first, how many command points does Stern? Stern has 3 command points. Can I bolster? I can only bolster the unit I'm currently standing on. So, since he's only got 2 squads. Oh, but I can't. Hold on. If I go back here, that's 1. If I bolster them, that's 1. And then it'll take 1 more to move up. So I'm actually not going to be able to bolster the mortars. So, unfortunately... Hold on. Does spotting take a... Spotting take an action point? I'm not sure how to check. Okay, and then we got to pick an asset. Alright, so we're spotting for these mortars. So that... Yeah, I'm guessing that's going to take an action point for Stern. On the other hand... He's got enough visibility. If I move him back, he's still going to have visibility. No, unclear. I'm not sure if this is going to block visibility. It shouldn't, because I can trace a line directly through that doesn't go that way. I'm going to take a risk to find out a little bit more about the game here. I'm going to move Stern over there. I'm going to bolster these mortars. Hold up. There we go.
That's the way!
And then we're going to spot mortars on the enemy. Nice.
So, some of you will recognize this, but note there weren't any casualties. So, Now we have to, ideally, flank and finish. And Dearborn, let's hope you can do the job here. So trivia about sort of laying down the field work for success. There's a lot of games that focus on drama melee, but from what I've read, for instance, in Leo Murray's book, actually most assaults led to surrender or retreat because people suppressed don't really want bayonets in the stomach.
Here we go. Here are the 4Fs. Find fire. Ah, I recognize this image from. I think this is from. No, maybe I'm wrong. A moment of calm amid the chaos. So this is an interesting image. These are infantry platoons, I believe, is what 3 dots is. Attacking against and beyond the flank of the leading hostile elements, followed by support platoon attacking hostile flank directly. Initial poster from the Office for Emergency Management, Office of War Information, Domestic Operations Branch, Bureau of Special Services. Remnant image is find, fix, flank, and finish. Find, fix, flank, and finish. Those are the 4Fs. That's spelled out in FM 7 to 10. Find, fix, flank, and finish. The Infantry Field Manual Rifle Company Rifle Regiment, published in June 1941. Image courtesy of the U.S. Army. The video is pure Luke. Oh, that's adorable. Oh, I love this game. All right. Consider the situation in depth, additional information, entertainment, or move on with the exercise. Yo, hit me with some of that additional stuff.
So I've simplified here, but if you want more depth, The Real Rule of Small Arms in Combat, good 4-page article. War Games by advisor Leo Murray goes into some depth. I will say for most gamers we see in playtesting, this is a significant learning curve. They want bang, 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 you're dead, and they overdo it. We have to train them very hard to do the 4Fs. And with that, we have to train them to know the different types of units and their strengths and weaknesses. And I'll let this speak for itself for a moment. Kind of your all-around guys. Notice they're getting into flanking position. Remember, 4Fs. This is our maneuver element. This is our fire base. Ideally with good leadership, unless you sent the leader to help with the assault. And you can move the machine gun, but then if you do that, they won't be able to fire, right? It's a trade-off. Let's let the mortar speak for themselves now. Notice there was a line of sight blockage with the trees, but the spotter helped you. We model spotting. So your leader may creep up and direct indirect fire from behind the hill. It's nice. Combined arms to do the 4Fs.
It's really, really
Can't
hard.
miss a patent quote when you have the chance.
Anyone who's played Foxhole knows how complicated spotting is. Although, everything is more complicated in real life than it is in video games. But spotting is complicated even in video games. All right. The Army employs field manuals for field problems. They have revised those recently. All right. There we go, Lieutenant. Sergeant Bennett says as the moment of calm fades. There ain't nothing a soldier can do about a shell that has his name on it. However, the squad isn't considered dead, merely pinned, the field umpire notes. And they'll stay that way unless you execute an assault to either take prisoners or force the enemy to retreat. Bang, bang, bang will not take the positions or prisoners. A squad will just hunker down behind cover and wait things out. That is why you need to lead. You need to make an assault. I'm on it. Let's take him in the flank, Sergeant Bennett says. No one fights hard if you go hit him in the kidneys from the get-go. And if we can stay out of their sights, so much the better. When Stern ceases fire, you'll attempt exactly that. A revealed enemy threatens these orange outlined hexes. They could perform opportunity fire on units moving through them. But these hexes are safe. These hexes are safe, but unrevealed enemies could still be out there. The odds of successfully initiating an assault can vary greatly. Even a moderately suppressed squad will almost never be able to manage it. But if a squad is in good morale, gets bolstered, and takes the enemy in the flank, well, they almost always commence the assault. To see if the squad meets the criteria, look for the flanking morale boost indicator. Flanking morale boost indicator is down here. All right. Excellent. So, end the round to switch squads. All right, and my squad's already at full morale. So, right, and I can do stuff. Even though, hold on. I don't necessarily want to do this round. So I'm just gonna let it go. All right. So now it's our turn. I see. So we need to pass back over to us, I think, or something. Yeah, because it's still not the end of the... Yes, because it's still not the end of the round. It was only the end of Stern's action, so now it's passed back to our main unit. Bolster. Yeah. Press the wrong button. And then assault. Waypoints, that's control right click. And yeah, that is looking good.
Get it done.
Nice. That's the way, LT. Sergeant Bennett waves you over as the quote-unquote enemy soldiers in their red armbands run off. It'll be harder overseas, but we got the method down here. Behind them, the field umpire ticks another box in his clipboard. Another enemy squad has been sighted, the field umpire notes. They were attempting to reinforce the objective and now have begun a counterattack. You must deal with them. Okay, interesting. Extra time added? Yes, 5 more minutes. Whistles blow, the exercise resumes at once. New enemy? Alright, the little green eye icon indicates that one of your squads is still undetected by an enemy you can see. Some of their units might also be undetected by your squads. Green eye icon denotes this on a given unit on either side. The fog of war cuts both ways. Okay. We're not given any explicit objectives right now, so let's go ahead and recon by fire. May reveal hidden enemies if used to fire on seemingly empty hexes. We've been told this spot might have an enemy in it. Are we in cover right now? We are. Alright, we got our cover indicator here. So this is a decent location. We can't just shoot. But we can recon by weapons fire. So let's do it. Alright. There's the enemy. What's Stern so fired up about? Doing his job. Alright, speaking of which, can he now shoot? No, because... right, he can't, but the MG will be able to in a second once I pass it back to Stern. The field umpire makes another note in his clipboard. Great exercise so far, huh, Lieutenant? Sergeant Bennett asks, pitching his voice up to be heard by the field lieutenant. Lessons learned from the extended exercise will help save lives over there. Ah, the rare valid point, the umpire remarks before you can put in a word. Proceed. Alright, now the... Okay. Okay, interesting. So even though the MG still had the ability to shoot, we didn't get to pass back to them because Stern was still... because Stern was out of juice. So who are we? Assault the enemy and new enemies appear to deal with them. You need to pass the round until a new turn refreshes your orders. Gray orders are spent. Green orders are available. Alright, so first things first. Do we want to shoot the mortars first? I think we do. I think I'll shoot the mortar once. That's going to cost Stern. Does the mortar have the ability to attack directly? It does. So that's going to cost Stern 1. If he then moves up and bolsters the MG, the MG can then fire twice. All right, I think I've got a plan. And he doesn't need to support the mortars, right? Yeah, this is the 60 millimeter mortar. Airburst cover, yeah, no, not in 1942. There isn't. Oh no, that's airburst cover. My bad. Well, even so. All right, let's do some damage. Nice. Alright, they're still at green. So Stern. Let's get you moving to the MG.
Yeah, heroes of the free fucking world here.
I know. I'm with you on that.
Nice. Alright, we'll go ahead and bolster those boys. And then MG. Let's do some damage. Flanked and surprised. Excellent. So that means our forward unit might be flanked. Might be able to flank now. Alright, and now we can take another swing. Because the MG can shoot twice. And now... So they're still in... They're still in yellow. So I don't want to attack straight away. But in any case, I need to pass the turn. So we'll see what they do now. Alright, and now it's my main guy. So, if I bolster and then assault, that's 2 orders. So I effectively have 2 orders to be able to do. These units, this unit is not in cover, and I want them to be in cover. They're making me nervous. So, let's go ahead and move them. But that is a threatened location. Both of these units are a hair short on morale right now. If I have them shoot from where they are, that's probably a mistake. Do I have the ability to look at what my range is? Because I think if I have them move back, they'll be outside of weapon range. And then that's just a kind of wasted command point. They got a very, very solid amount of suppression ability if they attack here. Let's just attack. That's still going to expose them to fire, I think. We're going to take a little suppression from that. Let's do it. Alright, so that costs us 1. And now, okay, so this unit didn't suffer any additional suppression. This enemy unit, they are cowering now, though. So now we've got the ability to go in and do some damage. So, we will bolster. Oop, I didn't do it. There we go. And now, let me see, do I want to go through... I think I want to go through terrain, because they're covering me at this point. Chances are really rock solid. It's interesting. Getting shot at with the machine gun didn't actually turn them around. So... and then we'll attack. Oh, it didn't... Interesting. It didn't go through the rough terrain. The other squad is taken prisoner. No running off this time. Whistles blow. No, and now the exercise is truly over. The field umpire signals for you and Bennett to approach. Minor victory for both men and mission. Okay, interesting. No one out of action, sir. I'm gonna hit this button. I'm gonna hit the continuous story button because there should be post-mission stuff, and I didn't capture that last time through. Continue with story.
Being a strong leader also meant being able to rely on others to help get the job done. That included fellow soldiers who had vastly different strengths and weaknesses than his own.
And so this exercise is over. The umpire's pencil makes a final note to the paperwork atop the clipboard. Mission minor victory. Finish the field problem before turn 3. The referees determined this to be the best outcome possible for the current field problem. Minor victory, referees determined that casualties are minimal, below 10%. Alright, excellent. Full marks, the field umpire says. But the next exercise will not be so easy. You share a knowing look with Sergeant Bennett. Move on to the next exercise. Mentally consider the last exercise. I'm gonna mentally consider the last one. Getting more information is always useful. An assault has many components. Find the enemy, fix their squad in place with fire superiority, flank their position, and finish their squad with a bayonet assault. If we can do all that, the Germans will be sauerkraut for sure. I feel like I didn't have to do things in that order. You can fire the machine gun twice at the enemy, then hit the enemy squad with the mortar before sending in the rifle squads to flank an assault. Alternatively, an immediate flank and assault might have risked much in the hopes that their surprise would suffice. If successful, your other squads could be employed elsewhere. Speaking of which, your men gather up, all 3 squads. This is my platoon. Standard army designations are fine. Ooh, I can... Webroot, stop it. I'm playing video games right now, Webroot. Alright, so... this is my platoon. Personalized, recommended, or standard army designations are fine. Do not personalize your platoon. Not recommended. So this is... I don't really have time to personalize them right now. I hope I'll get a chance to go after this a little bit later. There should definitely be a later... This should definitely be something that will be accessible to me. In any case, I think standard army designations are fine. This will be a kind of a historical run. We'll see how it goes in a more sort of historical designations, and then we'll get going with other stuff. Maybe in a subsequent run. Either way, the next time belongs to the next exercise. All right. So now we're back at the inter scenario screen. So that is all we've got time for today, my nerds. I have had fun. I hope you all have had fun, and I will see you on the other side.